I know that when I don't know when someone is coming, or they say they're going to arrive on Thursday and I don't hear from them the day before, it's frustrating because I'm like, are they even coming? Are they not coming? Do I need to change my schedule? What is happening? Maybe it's a delivery. Maybe they're coming to start something. Maybe they need to talk to me. They said we need to talk before. I don't know when they're coming, and I have stuff to do. Welcome to the follow through. Every episode, we dive into the challenges, opportunities, and strategies that help business owners save time, reduce stress, and grow. Let's jump in. On Wednesday, we kind of went through some scenarios through a job and one job where there wasn't much communication and how it changes the customers and your clients' experience as they move through your job flow, and how communicating with them and just keeping them up to date as to what's happening, what's going to happen, timing, when you're going to be there, when you're not going to be there, and just communicating that with them really elevates the customer experience, and it keeps them in the loop so that they're not wondering what's going to happen. Kind of on Wednesday, we talked about that and went through it. And today, I want to go through and just kind of, so in this whole customer service, customer experience journey and thinking about it, there's so many things you can do. And while you might be doing some things now or trying to do multiple things, there are really three really simple ways. So if you want to start elevating your customer experience, these three actions that I'm going to talk about today will take your experience from here to here very quickly. So these three steps, or these three actions, if you're not doing them consistently, we're going to talk about these three actions and work them into your processes so that they happen, and they don't fall through the cracks and people get them done. And we'll kind of talk about how to kind of set these up, I guess, some ideas as to how we can set these up in your workflows, in your company, so that you can continuously do these for your clients. As we talked about on Monday and today, now we're going to talk about these three actions. And you don't need more tools to make these actions happen. You just need consistency, and you need discipline to make these happen. And if you're a smaller company, they might be easier. If you're a bit larger company, you're going to need to get help from your technicians, from your team, to help you implement all of these three things, these three actions to help elevate your client experience and communicate with them. Because doing this is going to completely improve your client's journey, and it's going to protect them from wondering what's next, from wondering what's going to happen next. So let's dive into these three strategies, these three actions. And on Wednesday, I did touch on these, but I want to dive into them a little bit more. So the first action, the first communication, the first step you should be taking is communicating before the job. So as we talked about on Wednesday, there's that gap in between when a client signs on with you and when you schedule that job. And maybe it's not that far out, so this may not pertain to you, but if you're doing construction or if you're weeks out, this is a super important time to communicate with your clients. You don't want someone to sign up with you and then you not get there for a month and a half, and there be no communication in there. Because when a job is weeks or months out and they don't hear from you, they're not thinking they're just busy. They're probably thinking more along the lines of they're forgetting about me because I'm not hearing back from them, even though you may have told them it was a month out. It's how the human brain works. So what you want to do, and we talked about this before, maybe schedule a text or an email. So we talked about a couple weeks ago, maybe quite a few weeks ago, I talked about using your cell phone, because you can schedule text messages, you can schedule emails, and if you're weeks out, you can just schedule a very simple email. It doesn't have to be something crazy. And you can schedule a very simple text. Say, hey, I just want to touch base with you. We're still on track to get to you, when we spoke about, or that timing that we spoke about. And just let them know. We'll check in with you again in a couple of weeks when we get closer to to when we're scheduled to get to you. This is something that you have to schedule and you have to remember. And when you're scheduling somebody, put them on a calendar so you remember when you told them you were going to be there, so you can look at that calendar and you have something to reference to go back to do it. So none of these things that we were talking about can just be like, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to remember to do it. You need to schedule them. They need to be scheduled. They need to be on your calendar, because as we know, if it's not scheduled, it's not of importance to you and you're going to forget. I do the same thing. If I don't schedule it, if it's not on my calendar, it's not getting done because I'm going to forget about it. And I think that this before the job and this filling this gap between when someone signs up and when the job actually gets done, if it's months or weeks out, it's probably one of the ones that gets dropped the ball the most, because you have so much going on right now in this moment that you just forget about this. And this is something that needs to be scheduled. Someone needs to be in charge of this. And it's a matter of sitting down and looking at your schedule. And that's why it's so important to put this stuff on your schedule. So get this into your line of communications, this one. And look, you don't have to communicate with them every week. And it doesn't even, you don't have to communicate with them every week. If you're a month out, at least give them one touch and let them know. Say, hey, listen, we're still on track. We're still looking good. If anything changes, we'll let you know. And that's it. Or you could even take it a step further. Hey, I just want to let you know we're still on schedule. If anything changes, we'll let you know. And we'll reach out to you about a week prior to us being there. So that's good. Now you're setting yourself up. They know when to expect the next communication. Very good, Ann. Yeah, you need to put stuff on your calendar so you don't forget about it, and it's a priority. When you schedule it, it's a priority. So that is before the job. So the next one is one that I see over and over again that is not done on a continuous basis. And this is probably, in my opinion, one of the easiest ones to get done. And that is, and this is two, but they pretty much coincide with each other. So it's the day before and the day of the job. So I see this over and over and over again. And let's start with the day before the job. This one should 100% be done. I have people coming to my house and doing work for me, and they might be on a schedule. But I'm scheduled for that day, and I know that somebody's supposed to be at my house, but you don't hear anything from them the day before. And I see this across so many industries. It's helping so many people that it feels like it's such a hard thing to implement, but it really is truly an easy thing to implement. So the day before the job, somebody should be, and maybe it's you, maybe it's your technicians, your team members, your technicians. It really should be their job. I really truly believe it should be their job to call everybody that they're going to see the next day. It takes 2 seconds. It takes 2 minutes. They have the schedule already. There's no reason why they can't call the day before. So calling the day before, I think, is such an important thing to make it so that your clients, your customers aren't guessing, like, are they even coming tomorrow? I don't even know if they're coming. Even if you reach out to them the week before, still call them, send them a text, send them something that lets them know you're going to be there tomorrow. And if you can, let them know about what time. You don't need to tell them, I'm going to be there at 8 a.m. It can be a window. Say, hey, Mr. Jones, we are planning on being there tomorrow. We're hoping to be there between 8 and 10. If anything changes, we'll let you know. That's it. And this needs to be someone's responsibility. And the easiest, I think the person that should be doing it is the person that's going. And that is just my belief. That way, the person that's going to be there has that communication and is communicating it with that client. Now, depending on the size of your company, maybe it's an admin that's doing that. Maybe it's you that's doing that. But the day before, all you need to do is sit down, look at your schedule, and call the people. And your technicians should have that information either on their phone or a list or something to where they can actually take the time to do that. I think it's such, like, I'm drilling this in because over and over and over and over again, I talk to so many contractors, so many service businesses, and they just don't do it. And I even see it in my everyday life when I have some people coming to my house. They say they're going to be there on a certain day. I don't hear from them. And then I get a knock on the door. I don't even know if they're coming. I might call them. I don't hear back from them. And then all of a sudden I get a knock on the door. And I might be in the middle of something. I'm not ready for them. So I think that's such an important communication to do, and one that should not be dropped. And it really relieves so much ambiguity in when the service is done and when you're going to be there, if you're going to be there or not. So the next in line with this is the day of job. So if you have multiple service stops, and I think this again may not pertain to you, but if you have multiple service stops, let the client know you're on the way. You know, maybe it's in the afternoon you told them you'd be there. Maybe it's in the morning you told them you'd be there when you called the day before, or whoever called the day before. But whoever is going to service that client should be calling, sending a quick text or something to say, hey, we're on the way. In the spring, when I had my pond company, what we would do is we'd have, depending on the day, we'd have anywhere from 2 to 4 stops during that day. And the night before, it was the technician's responsibility to call everybody that we were going to clean their pond for the next day. And the way we would do it is we would tell them what stop they were, because the day was routed. So we would say, you're stop 1. So we should be there in the morning sometime between, and we would give a time frame because you never know what's going to happen in the morning. Sometimes between 8 and 10 or 7 and 9 or whatever it might be. And then we say, you're the second stop. So you're looking at somewhere late morning, mid-afternoon. And that's how we would set it up so that they knew about what time we would be there. And then we would send a text message to them to let them know that we were on their way, or we were done with the stop before them and we're on the way to go see them. So I think it's, if you, like I said, if you have a multiple stop day, super important. It takes 2 seconds. If you run a 1-tech crew, it is his responsibility. If you run a 2-tech crew, split that responsibility up so there's that communication throughout the day so clients know when you're coming to their house. The next quick thing is, like, and even if it's a multi-day job, let's say you're going to be there for multiple days, have that conversation with, have your foremans or your leads or whoever is that communicator on that team communicate with the client. And it can be to let them know what's going to happen over multiple days. So maybe you don't have to do it every day then. And what we used to do is, if it was a multiple day job, we'd have that initial conversation with the client, something along the lines of, hey, Mr. Smith, it's super important for us to communicate with you along the way so you know what's going on, so you know when we're going to be here. And just so you know, we typically arrive between 8 and 9 a.m. every morning. But if we happen to be running late, so you can expect us to be here between 8 and 9 every day. But if something happens or we get tied up, we're going to let you know. Does that sound good? Is that okay with you? So we're not, bothering you every morning, letting you know we're on their way. And a lot of times it's perfect. And that's what we would do. Set up that expectation right up front. Because this section 2, or this second action of the day before and the day of, I think is probably the most important. So if you're not going to implement all 3 of these, at least get this one into your repertoire of communications to elevate your customer experience, because it really signals the respect for your client, the respect for their time, that you're organized and you're professional, and it will elevate the experience with your company. So the next and last one is after the job communication. So if you're a service company, you go to someone's house and you might be servicing multiple stops a day. Maybe you're only servicing 1, and we talked about this on Wednesday, of communicating with the client when you're done and what actually happened. And you can do this a couple of ways: by a quick phone call if they're not home, by knocking on the door and letting them know that you're done, maybe walking them through the job, letting them know what to expect for that job. If they're not there, shoot a quick video. shoot them a quick text message. Just be like, hey, or have your text, shoot them a quick text message. Be like, hey, this is Clay. We're all done with it. Everything went great. No need to do anything. If you have any questions, please call me, and then they can call that technician with any questions. Or in this day and age, you could actually use job forms. So if you're using a field service management tool or something, utilize what you have at your fingertips, utilize what you already have, and start using job forms, because you can fill that job form out, put little notes in there, and then they get a quick email on our text message. And again, my favorite one is the video, sending videos and recap videos of the job, especially if they're not home. And a lot of times we know so many people, the homes are both, if there's a spouse, both people are working in the homes anymore these days a lot of times. And if that is the case, or no one can be home, that video is killer. It is one of the best things you can implement in your company. So that is really the gist of today. And that is most sort of just to recap. The 3 actions to start implementing in is 1, that job gap, to that communication between the time someone signs and the time you're going to be there. If it's a big gap, at least get 1 communication in. Set it up, figure out how to work it into your workflow, and get that 1 communication in. The next action is the day before and the day of. Get this one done. Out of all 3 of these, this is probably one of the most important ones to do. Get this done. Figure out how you can work it into your day, into your workflows, get help from your team, and get this one accomplished, because this one will change the game. And then section 3, I'm reading off my notes, it's terrible. Action 3 would be after the job, removing any questions from what was done and what's next. So communicating that with your clients, either via job forms, email, quick text message, or the best one, a quick video to your client. So elevating your customer experience is really one of those things where you don't really think about. You might be doing it, badly, and maybe you're doing it great. But these 3 actions and you start implementing these and putting these 3 actions, these 3 communication points in your job flow, it will change the way you feel. It will change the way your clients feel about you. And communicating really takes a lot of stress off of you, because you're communicating with people and you're not waiting for someone to call you. You're communicating with them and they know what next steps are. You know what next steps are. And there's no what ifs or what's going to happen now. So next week, I'm going to dive into something called the 333, which is not my idea, but it's an idea I implemented, and it's awesome. And it's something that you should definitely, and it's not easy to implement, but you can implement it within your company, especially if you are a continuous service company. We're going to talk about what it is. I'm going to talk about what it does and how it will completely change your customer experience for you and for your clients. So I'm going to talk about each step. So on Monday, I'm going to talk about step 1, then step 2 on Wednesday, and step 3 on Friday. So I want to thank everybody for joining me. I hope everyone has an awesome, awesome weekend. And I hope you go somewhere and have a good time and have a great customer experience somewhere. So thank you so very much. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you all on Monday. Before you go, if you want to learn more about what we're all about, head on over to kairocx.com. You can reach out to us there, or just dig in and learn more about how we can help businesses like yours at Kairo CX. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on The Follow Through.